Hello everyone and welcome back to Coach Craig's Sports. Today is Wednesday, October 5th, and this is the MLB DFS video for today. So in today's video, we'll be going over a quick little recap of yesterday's picks, seeing how they turned out. Talking about my core plays for today, it is a 14-game main slate overall. This is the last day of the MLB season, so every team is kicking off right around 3 o'clock. Since the Blue Jays and the Orioles did get postponed yesterday, that turned into a doubleheader, kicking them off the main slate at least, so that was one less game that we had to worry about, but should be a pretty interesting slate overall, especially with some of these pitchers not pitching too deep into the game and maybe some of these hitters not really starting as well. So definitely going to be a lot of news, but we should have all that at around the same time today overall. And then lastly, going over to WeBetATS.com, looking at my article and the top GPP stacks for today as well. But without further ado, we'll get started with a recap of yesterday's picks. At the pitcher position, went with Michael Lorenzen at $8,300, got to 43 points. So he was a hit yesterday, a very solid all-around play. Then we moved down to our hitters, and unfortunately, paying down for some of these cheaper guys that had good history in the past did not end up paying out. With Wilmer Flores at $2,400, got to 0 points. He was the best, and he was 0 for 4 over Sean Manaea yesterday. Then we had David Fletcher, who previously was 11 for 20 versus Cole Irvin, $2,400 as well. Got to 0 points. He was a mess, and he went over 4 as well. Kiki Hernandez at $2,600, got to 6 points, so he was a push. And then Taylor Ward, lastly, was $3,700, got to 0 points. He was a mess and went over 4 as well. So some pretty good history there in the past, just unfortunately did not end up working out yesterday in terms of our hitters. So not the best day overall. If you got lucky and ran into some other good hitters, you still had a chance to cash in, but it was a little bit harder with those 3 zeros overall. Just kind of unfortunate with our hitters the last couple days, but hopefully today's a little bit better. Today might be a little bit trickier, as I did mention, since the starting lineups may mix and match a little bit more than they typically would be in the last game of the year. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to my core picks for today. So at the pitcher position, we're paying all the way up for Shohei Ohtani, $11,200, averaging 42.5 fantasy points per game on the season. Goes against the Oakland A's today. Very favorable matchup for him once again. The last time out, he had 64 points versus them. He also has starts of 43 and 32 versus them this season. Should be a pretty favorable matchup, and he's one of the higher-end pitchers that is expected to pitch at least deeper into the game today, as opposed to some of the playoff teams, that are throwing out like Max Fried, Jacob deGrom, Clayton Kershaw. Most of those guys aren't expected to pitch too deep into the game since they are getting ready for the playoffs overall. But we're going to move down to first base with Albert Pujols, the last regular season game of his career. So there is a little bit of risk here just because they're probably going to take him out of the game at some point in time for a curtain call and a standing ovation, all that type of thing. He's $2,800. Going against the Pittsburgh Pirates today, it's Juan Oviedo, who is a former Cardinal himself, but Pujols is 1 for 3 with 1 home run versus him. And he's been hitting the ball pretty well as of late. He's on a 5-game hitting streak. So Albert Pujols is definitely someone to consider for a cheaper option at first base today if you're a little bit worried about him coming out of the game a little bit early for that standing ovation, curtain call, all that type of thing. Then maybe you switch to somebody else, but I'm not too worried about it overall. Today, it's probably going to be like his last at-bat, so you're still probably guaranteed to get 3 at-bats in this game overall. Then we move down to second base with Jeff McNeil. You could also play him in the outfield if you want to do so. He's $2,600. Goes against the Washington Nationals. It's Eric Fedde on the mound today. And he is 7 for 16 versus Fedde in his career. Fedde's just not that great of a pitcher overall. And you could argue Jeff McNeil's been one of the hottest hitters in all of baseball as of late. He's on a 10-game hitting streak with 8 of those games being multi-hit games. So the upside at $2,600 is through the roof here. Looking to have another solid game once again, so maybe he takes home that batting crown for the NL. Him and Freddie Freeman are right neck and neck for that overall, coming down to this very last day. Then we move down to the outfield. We got Giancarlo Stanton at $3,000, averaging just under 10.5 fantasy points per game on the season. Goes against the Texas Rangers. It's Glenn Otto on the mound. He's 1 for 2 with 1 home run versus Otto in his career. And Giancarlo Stanton has homered in 3 straight games, so definitely looking like some pretty good upside there once again today. Then joining him in the outfield is Mitch Haniger at $3,100, averaging over 9.5 fantasy points per game on the season. A little bit of a disappointing season for him, but as of late, he's been hitting the ball very, very well. He is 1 for 4 versus Tyler Alexander with a home run, who is the starting pitcher for the Tigers today. And he has 5 multi-hit games in his last 7 starts, so definitely a ton of upside there once again at a $3,100 price tag. Nothing yet you could complain about overall. But with that being said, if you go with these 5 players that I do have listed here, you have $12,300 remaining, just under $3,100 per player. So you could pay up for someone on today's day if that's something you want to do, or if you want to take a little bit more balanced approach, that's definitely fine as well. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to my article over at WeBetATS.com and talk about my top GPP stacks for today. So in terms of the stacks that I do have for today, we have the New York Mets going against the Washington Nationals. Eric Fetty's on the mound. Fetty's not that great of a pitcher. The Mets have hit him pretty well in the past. There's a very small chance of rain in this game, so just keep an eye out on that. But as I mentioned, all these games start right around the same time, so we should have a good idea of what's going on overall. Then we have the Houston Astros going against Bailey Faulkner of the Philadelphia Phillies, and obviously they'd never faced him before. So there's some pretty good upside there. We'll have to see what the Astros do with their starting lineup overall. They are a team that would not surprise me if they try to rest some guys today. I believe they already said that they will be resting Jose Altuve. Then we have the Seattle Mariners going against Tyler Alexander. Some of their hitters have hit him pretty well in the past. Some pretty decent upside there as well. Then we have the Dodgers. Obviously, they have a great lineup. And they're going against Noah Davis, making his MLB debut for the Colorado Rockies. Should be some pretty good upside there. And then last but not least, we have the Atlanta Braves going against Eliezer Hernandez. They've hit him well both times this season. A lot of these guys have pretty decent history versus them, so the Braves would be a team that I would chase once again today. You could look at the Boston Red Sox against Josh Fleming of the Tampa Bay Rays, but that game has a very, very good chance of rain, so probably a game that's going to get postponed or just canceled altogether since it is the last game of the regular season. They'll probably try to play it out as much as they can if they can, since it is the last game of the regular season, but that one does not really have too many implications on the playoff picture altogether. But with that being said, these are my core 5 picks as well as top GPP stacks for today, October 5th. As always, if you have any questions related to MLB DFS, be sure to leave them down in the comments below and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. Also, be sure to let me know your favorite play on today's slate, whether it's someone for my core 5 picks, whether it's someone for my top GPP stacks, or whether it's a completely different hitter you guys think I missed. Definitely interested in hearing what you have to say. But with that being said, if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing. Definitely would appreciate it. Helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig's Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Sadly, MLB DFS is done for the regular season. I will not be doing postseason MLB DFS, but definitely be sure to check out my NFL DFS work for the core pick videos every week. And then once the NBA season starts up in about 2 weeks, I'll be doing daily NBA DFS core pick videos for both FanDuel and DraftKings. So definitely be sure to check that out when that time does come around, if that's something you're into as well. And then with that being said, if you are a new or current subscriber who's yet to do so, also be sure to hit that notification bell down below. It's going to let you know every single time I post up a new video. As I just mentioned, MLB's done for this point in time, but NBA season's right around the corner, so definitely be sure to look out for those videos as well as the NFL DFS core pick videos and live streams for the Thursday night and Monday night football slates. But with that being said, that's all I have for today's video. Hopefully you all enjoyed it, and then last but not least, special shout out to each and every one of you watching today's video. I truly do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Definitely means a lot to me, and I hope each and every one of you has a great rest of your day.